I mean, it's funny how life goes because, you know, I think if you gave me a crystal ball and yourself a crystal ball in 2003 and said, you know, 13 years from now you're going to be coaching the England rugby team, you'd have thought I was ready for the nut house, wouldn't you? Really? I mean, do you sit and pinch yourself occasionally and go, can't quite believe where the journey's taken you over the last 13 years?
Well, it just shows where rugby's gone, doesn't it? Like, you know, the game's just changed so much and developed, and for the good and bad, you know, really developed.
Your family, obviously, you've taken them around the world with you. How have they settled into the UK? I mean, are you living here in London, or do you choose to keep away from?
No, we're out here out near Ascot. My wife's with me. My daughter's still in Australia, so she actually did a university degree in England.
Okay.
But she's gone back and she's working for the Australian Rugby Union now. So she's been getting a bit of stick lately. But no, my wife's quite happy here. Settled in well.
Yeah, it's a good spot. And I mean, obviously, you've had to hit the ground running quite quickly, so it's been about the rugby straight away. But do you give yourself that time to do things outside of rugby? I mean, you go and watch other sports.
We went to Wimbledon, been to the Test cricket, so it's been great. You know, the sporting environment in England, particularly in the summer, is fantastic. And it's been, I reckon, the British Olympics has been great in that people are now starting to talk about, well, England should be winners rather than be apologetic losers. And that's what we want the rugby team to be.
I hope you don't mind me asking, but in I think it was 2013, you had some health issues.
Yeah.
You had was it a stroke?
Yeah.
Inevitably, it changes you as a person when you have a life-changing incident like that.
Yeah, I think up until then you think you're Superman, and that happens, and it probably just made me realise how lucky I was to be able to coach, and probably every day since then I've just appreciated the job I've got to do.
People know a lot about you as a coach, but if I take you right back to, I think it was 1991, 92, when we all thought we were invincible, for sure. What a lot of people don't know is you did an exchange programme, didn't you, with Matt Poole? I think he went over to Australia.
Yeah.
He was a Leicester Tigers player, and you came over to Leicester and had life as a player. You were playing hooker then. Just give us a bit of an insight into what that was like for an Australian to come over to English rugby. Were you given a chance at all?
Well, I was only a little hooker and I wasn't a great player, but I played about 3 or 4 first-grade games, I think. But I can remember one of the first A team games I played. So I threw the ball in a quick line out, and one of the tight head props grabbed me on the side and he said, "Son, we don't do that here at Leicester."
What were your impressions of English rugby then? And you know, be honest, because I mean, it was a very different game to probably what you'd experienced over in the Southern Hemisphere.
Very set piece and very conservative, but tough.
Lots of kicking.
Very tough. Lots of kicking.
Yeah.
Lots of mauling. Lots of scrum.
I read somewhere that you were working in a furniture business, were you, for Matt Poole's dad?
I was working for his dad, working in the warehouse. So I wouldn't say it was fun. We used to go around delivering furniture around the Midlands.
Yeah,
it was bloody cold staying in that warehouse. I
bet it was. Well, I think Richard Cochrane ended up being a French polisher as well. So, everyone was working pretty hard. I'm pretty sure Matt Poole would have had a better experience over in Australia, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
He wouldn't have been working.
He was on the beach, mate, enjoying himself.
You got Australia to a World Cup final, and but for one drop kick, you could have even won that final. Then things went a little bit the other way.
I think one of the things I learned about that, I stayed too long. Like, it was my 5th year. I think, again, Australia were at their peak for that World Cup, and then you got to rebuild, and rebuilding at the international level's hard. And Australia's going through it at the moment. You know, Michael Checker's in the position now. He's got some of the older players are past it now, and the younger players just aren't good enough. So you got this gap in your team, and therefore you got a gap in performance. And you know, the thing I've learned about international coaching, you get in there, you do a good job for 4 years, you build the team up, and then you give it to someone else to do.
I'm sure Ian Ritchie's taken note of that as well. I mean, you don't need reminding of what's happened in the last 6 months, but you know, clearly you've won 9 out of 9 games. England have won their first Grand Slam since 2003. You went to Australia and you've won a Test series over there 3-0. I mean, that's probably happened a lot quicker than even you might have expected right from the outset. Is that fair?
Yeah, I thought we'd win the Six Nations. Look, you know, without being arrogant, I think England should always win the Six Nations or be in contention to win the Six Nations.
I agree with that.
You might have some bad luck along the way that stops you winning it, but again, you know, exactly as you said, given the players and resources, you should be in position to win the Six Nations. You know, when you play Australia in their own backyard, you know, the Australians are on the front foot. You know, they're taking you on everywhere they can.
Well, you wrote the manual, didn't you?
The great thing for us, I think we took it to them. You know, that first test in Brisbane, I think, when Haskell hit Pocock, you know, it was a sign that, you know, we were here for the business boys. We're not here to be second fiddle.
Yeah.
You know, if we're good enough, we're going to win this. I thought we could beat them 2-1. You know, the third test, I was surprised how well we played. I've got to admit that, because we were tired.
You've been involved in the attacking side of the game. Is that something that you still want to progress with this England team, and you might consider adding something else to your options in attack?
I don't see our attack being at its best until September 20th, 2019, which is the World Cup, and it's a slow process. We, you know, increase the skill base of the players, increase their understanding, and it's just step by step up.
And also, I guess it's a lot of things is about timing in life. You probably looked at the England team and thought, what are they doing playing the way they're playing and how they are? And you could actually make a genuine improvement to that straight away.
No, 100%. You know, a good bunch of players, and they're all about the same age. And as you know, great teams usually start with a bunch of young players together. They go through some hard times. They start to learn how to win. Then they want to win all the time, and they get that real desire in their gut that they don't want to lose. You know, because winning is much more fun than losing, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
You know, I said to the boys after the last test, you know, we don't win that game, our dressing room's quiet, the other dressing room's noisy, and that's the difference between 2 or 3 points.
What's your assessment, sort of 6 months in, of the strengths of the Premiership?
I've been really impressed by the professionalism of the clubs. The quality and quantity of the coaching staff is outstanding, and I think that's starting to be replicated in the standard of play. You know, I'd still like to see it be a bit more attacking, but you know, I'm sure that's going to come.
If there is a weakness, it's probably that sides don't believe and back themselves all the time, do they?
Yeah, well, I think they're just a little bit too set in what they do from certain positions rather than have a look at what the defence is doing and having a go. But having said that, I think, yeah, the game's going in the right direction. You've got 12 clubs here, and no one knows this year who's the club going down. You know, the competition's going to be so intense at the bottom, and you know, that's the great beauty of relegation and promotion. I think one of the things that sets the Premiership apart from, say, Super Rugby is that every game here is hotly contested. You know, to me, watching Super Rugby at the end of the season, you see sides that are already knocked off, and the games are very uninteresting. Whereas here, you've always got a contest. You know, there's a contest for something going on, and that's a great thing.
How difficult is it for you to, when you see what's going on in the Premiership, to get those guys to then to buy into what you're trying to do at international level?
Well, I think the players are so keen to play for England. I think that, you know, they've been starved for success, and you know it yourself. When you win something in Europe with your club team, you know you can beat all those players in Europe, and so there's no reason why you can't do it at the international level. You know, and winning becomes almost contagious, and I think we've got that with Sarries. I think Wasps are on their way up, aren't they? You know, they've got a good bunch of players. You know, they want to start winning things, so we're getting a core of players who are desperate to win, so they're motivated by winning rather than participating. Just
in terms of your squad, what have you said to the group of players for what your expectations are for the first couple of months of the season? Because as a player myself, I used to get very excited by the 1st of September because it was almost like a trial. Yeah,
well, we always say to the players, you know, we expect you to be international players when you go back to your clubs. We expect you to be the leaders. We expect you to set the tone for club rugby in England.
Well, you weren't shy in saying that if we want to be the best side in the world, we've got to get a lot fitter than we are at the moment.
Well, the great thing for us, we haven't really touched on it yet. You know, we've got another 6 or 7% improvement at least in that physical area of conditioning, at least. Which is so exciting, because over the next 3 years we can build on that. Individually we can get each of the players better. Like someone like Billy can improve enormously. You know, he's just touching the surface at the moment. Yeah. So, you know, it's a really exciting time for these players, and I think they're starting to get it.
In terms of the block coming up, the autumn internationals, you're not obviously looking beyond that at the moment. You're just looking at that block and seeing how you go. we can forget the All Blacks because they're not coming over this year. But there's some really interesting and challenging games in different ways for your team. Will you have a tried and trusted team, or will you just go, actually, I've got a block of 4 matches and there's a whole group of players there and I'll just take it one by one and see where I go with them?
I was just having a look at it the other day. You know, before the World Cup, we've probably got about 36 tests. So every test is important. We'll certainly pick our strongest team for South Africa. Yeah, and then we'll take it from there. Yeah, and we haven't beaten South Africa since 2006.
No, in fact, they've beaten us up every time.
And you know what they're like, mate. They're just bullies.
Yeah.
So there's a first task there for the first 23.
You're going to be without a couple of players. I mean, you've been pretty good with injuries thus far. You're going to be without a couple of players. That might give some opportunities for some younger players coming through. I notice you've still got Josh Beaumont. And he, was a little bit unlucky towards the end of last season. He's now captain of his club. You've got Nathan Hughes coming through, who's now eligible. So there might be an opportunity for some of the guys to put a bit of pressure on the guys in the team.
Oh, definitely. We're going to miss Haskell. I'm sure he's going to watch this program, so we're going to miss him a lot. He's been great for the team.
Yeah.
So there's a great opportunity in the back row for someone to come in and fill his spot. So we're looking at a number of guys in that area.
You'll take each game as it comes. I know you'll say that, but you're obviously looking to try and win every single game in the autumn.
Yeah, no. But the first most important one, South Africa. If we win that, we'll be right for the rest of the series.
Eddie, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you very much indeed.
Pleasure. Thanks very much, mate. Cheers.